Hi, everyone. You do not want to miss this monthly update. The U.S. election finally happened. Find out how it affected Canada. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, real estate, inflation, interest rates. Let's dig into it. Hi, everyone. I'm Darren Mitchell from Control and Compound. Joining me as always, Christina Wyatt. Christina, how you doing?
Hey, Darren, I'm doing great. I can't believe we're doing a December update, but I'm feeling a little festive. I'm ready to talk about all the things that happened in November and excited for the update.
I like the reindeer sweater. Very nice. I kind of forgot about that today. Okay, Christina, we got all kinds of updates for people today. So let's start with the Bank of Canada. People are always following interest rates. What's going on with the Bank of Canada?
Yep. So the last interest rate announcement we had was back on October 23rd. And we remember at that point, we did see the 50 basis points reduction to 3.75 for the Bank of Canada rate. So that was the last announcement. Now we have another announcement coming up on December 11th. So the speculation is happening. So everyone's looking at what's happened the last couple months. And what we've seen was actually inflation come a bit up. So we did see an increase in inflation in the month of October. It went up to 2%. From that 1.6% back in September. So people are getting a little antsy. At the beginning, everyone's like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to see a 50 basis point reduction in December. You know, they've got to keep up with the economy and all that stuff. But as we know, they're trying to fight inflation, and we saw those inflation rates go up. So the increase was primarily driven by a smaller decline in gasoline prices compared to the previous month. Additionally, shelter costs, including rent, mortgage, interest, all of those things didn't actually change when we saw that little bit of a reduction. So that continued to put pressure on the CPI, right? So that uptick in inflation is leading experts to say that we might not see that significant rate cut that we thought we would. People are saying maybe 25 basis points. Others are saying that we could actually just stay right where we are. There's going to be some new data released on GDP, employment rates, all of that stuff shortly before. Like I'd say that's probably going to come out shortly after this podcast is released, what those unemployment rates are. They're going to take that into consideration too, right? So they're looking at the inflation, but they're also looking at the economic impact that these interest rates have caused. So we'll see what comes out in those rates. We have seen, obviously, the GDP hasn't been great. The employment rates haven't been great. So I'm thinking that will probably trend. But we'll find out on December 11th if we see that cut or if it continues to stay the same at that 3.75 where we are.
All right. Wow. I was really looking forward to another cut. So hopefully the new numbers we're waiting on look good. All right. What's next? Canadian dollar.
Yep. So the Canadian dollar is currently sitting at 71 cents. So no big change since the last time that we talked about it. It was up a bit a few months ago, but now we're actually at a multi-year low against the US dollar. Great. As we're heading to the U.S. next week. That's great. So they're saying that this drop is driven by the stronger U.S. dollar amid geopolitical tensions, lower oil prices affecting Canadian exports, and really just that big yield between Canadian and U.S. assets, right? So I know you've got a bit of an update on that as well, but the update that you're going to give definitely has some correlation to what the Canadian dollar is doing.
Yeah, we're just not very productive. And I talk about this a lot, but this GDP gap or productivity gap that we have. So that's how much the average American worker produces versus what the average Canadian worker produces. And this gap keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It is now, just to put it in perspective, the 2023 numbers, the gross domestic product per capita in the U.S. was 43% higher than Canada. That's the largest it's ever been. And according to this economics professor at University of Calgary, Trevor Toom, he wrote an article. He thinks it's going to widen to almost 50% in the next year. So think of that. If an American worker is going to produce 50% more on average than a Canadian worker, that is a massive, massive change. And some of the reasons I think it's going to change, they think the Trump election in the U.S. is going to be good for the American economy. It's going to spur some growth. One of the big things is Trump is talking about tax reductions, and tax reductions are good for growth and good for the economy. Haven't heard Trudeau talk a lot about tax reductions in Canada. We keep getting tax increases. And then we get those mortgage renewals. We still got a lot of those mortgage renewals coming in at much higher rates than people were 5 years ago. So all this is combining that, it's not all just sunny ways in Canada. We've got a huge productivity gap. It seems to be strengthening. So it's going to be pretty tough to see that dollar improve drastically unless we can work on that productivity gap. Stock market, we had kind of a Trump bump. After Trump was elected, everyone got excited and the stock market went up. It kind of settled. So U.S. was up 0.6%, 24% year to date. S&P up 1%, 19%. So interestingly enough, if you had shares in a company that makes vaccines, when RFK was proposed as the Secretary of Health, those shares dropped significantly. So the vaccine makers kind of took a hit. But the big news of the month, and we did a special podcast on this, was Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has been skyrocketing since the election. We saw it start to creep up the election night as it continued to go up when the likelihood of Trump winning. So that was a big, huge move for Bitcoin. As of this recording, it was up to around $98,000. That's up $27,000 in the month. And it's actually up a little more in the last 3 weeks because it kind of dropped at the beginning of the month and then skyrocketed. So it's up 120% year to date and 171% on a 1 year basis. So just crazy how Bitcoin is surging. And we talk about inflows and outflows sometimes, and that kind of measures sentiment where we think it's going or where the experts think it's going. We're not Bitcoin experts. We don't profess to be. And we had, last month I said, there was $4 billion that went into Bitcoin. We had that in a 5-day period this month. Like, it is a lot of money going in. And the reason why Trump won, he's pro-crypto. He wants to get rid of some regulations. The current administration in the U.S. is not really pro-crypto. The SEC, he thinks that guy should go. I don't know. I don't think he has the power to make him go, but they're hoping for more favorable policies. He wants Bitcoin mined in the U.S., so he'll be pro-Bitcoin mining. And then there's a real move for corporations to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? If you want to, the analogy is if you want to guarantee losing money, the only asset that you're guaranteed to lose money in is cash. Because if you sit in cash, your money's getting devalued every year because they're printing roughly 7% more money a year. So your cash is going down. We've got these huge corporations sitting on tons and tons of cash, and there's speculation that they're going to start moving some into Bitcoin. MicroStrategy was really the leader. They actually took it the next step. They raised money just to buy Bitcoin. So I want to just go through MicroStrategy on how much Bitcoin they've bought just in the past month. So this is Michael Saylor's company. Put it in perspective, there's 900 Bitcoin mined a day right now. So until the next halving, it's roughly 900 Bitcoin a day. That's all the new Bitcoin that comes out. Everything else has to be bought from someone else. So in November, they bought $2 billion on November 11th. That's 27,200 Bitcoin. So in 1 week period, they bought 27,000 Bitcoin, and that was massive purchase, and people are like, holy cow, that's crazy. Well, 7 days later, they came in and bought $4.6 billion worth of Bitcoin, which represented at the time 51,780. So you've got about 80,000 Bitcoin in those two transactions, roughly a week, 10 days apart. Like, that is a significant portion of the Bitcoin out there. Remember, it's 21 million is the maximum. We're pushing 20 million now. So the last thing on MicroStrategy, put it in perspective, they now sit on 331,200 Bitcoin, worth about $16.5 billion as of today. And they plan to never sell their Bitcoin and continue to buy forever. Donald Trump has said the Bitcoin that the U.S. government holds, they will never sell that. Okay, if you start thinking of people never selling their Bitcoin, you start thinking, potentially some kind of reserve currency for countries. It could mean significant things. I'll tell you the impact of not selling your Bitcoin. Germany, about a month ago, had Bitcoin. Typically, governments have Bitcoin when they confiscate it from criminals through in the past, and they seize assets. Germany started selling their Bitcoin about a month ago. If they had waited a month, it would have been an extra $1 billion to taxpayers in Germany if they waited. So they sold around $55,000 because they said, "Oh, we don't want to sell our Bitcoin." So if you think if the U.S. government says we're not going to sell our national parks, we're not going to sell, I don't know, major things. We will seize assets and sell gold. We will sell property. We will sell stocks. We will sell everything, but we will not sell Bitcoin. So as more institutions start saying they're not going to sell Bitcoin, that just is going to lower the supply of Bitcoin available. That's going to drive the price up. So as of recording, like I said, 98,000. By the time you listen to this, Bitcoin could be 110. Bitcoin could be 70. So we had to record a couple days early because of scheduling conflicts, but big month for Bitcoin. And it'll be exciting to see when Trump actually does come into power, who he appoints. There was a rumor going around that they're actually going to appoint a crypto czar. So again, an emphasis on pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin policies. It'll be fun to watch, like always, with Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's definitely a wild ride. And I'm glad you mentioned that we're recording a bit early because I'm telling you, within days, this whole thing is changed. I can't keep up. I can't keep up on the Bitcoin ride.
Well, I went to bed last night and I had prepared for today, and I woke up this morning and said, well, I got to redo it because so much stuff happened in a day. So on a less volatile thing in the past month, what about Canadian real estate?
Yes. So, the slow and steady real estate side, not quite as exciting as your update, Darren, but doing what it's supposed to do, right? We love real estate for that. So numbers came out for October, and there was an uptick in sales across Canada. So looking across the country, sales were up 7.7% compared to September, and they're up 30% year over year. So just like we thought might happen with the interest rates lowering, we are seeing more people go out and purchase those homes. So we're seeing that increase. However, the home in price index did see a slight decline of 0.1% month over month. So we've got a 2.7 decrease year over year. And that's looking at the national average home price, right? So if we look at the national average selling price, it has rose 6% over the past year, but obviously we know that different provinces change, right? So if we dig into a couple of the actual provinces, looking at Ontario, the province's housing market saw a sharp monthly increase in average home prices. So Connor in our office was talking, and congratulations to Connor. He got a brand new house for the family, but he was saying that the market is picking up around here. We got to get on this. And they did. So congratulations to them. But it is. So it's reaching 854 or 851 was the average home price in September, a 4.1% rise from the previous month. So that is going up. BC is kind of staying still. It hasn't had a huge decline or increase. If we look at Quebec, though, they've been seeing some growth. They're 6.8% higher than last year on their average home price. And then Alberta's kind of coming in with the largest annual percentage gain among all of the provinces. They've reached an all-time, the province's record high for home price at $512,000. That's a 9.7% increase year over year. So Alberta's seeing some good growth out there. Now, if we switch to regulatory updates, so things that have kind of popped up in the real estate market over the last month, effective November 21st, the Canadian government did eliminate the requirement for borrowers to qualify under the minimum qualifying rate when they switch lenders at mortgage renewal. So they're just trying to make it a little bit more competitive for people to be able to switch and find the better rates. And they did come out with some statements that they're not going to be changing mortgage structures so much. I know we talked about it last month where they changed amortizations and stuff for new home buyers. They're not really looking to do many more changes there, as they don't think that it's going to do much of an impact. Overall, though, the market dynamics, like we said, we had that increase in home sales over the last month. We also saw housing starts growth. So housing starts in October increased by 8%, which is absolutely necessary. We know that we need more units. So there is groundbreaking activities in multi-unit, single-family detached homes. So they're following that market demand, which is great to see. We've got more home starts. Now, one thing that did pop up for challenges in the market right now are condo sales. So pre-construction condo sales in major cities have really stalled, delaying funding for new developments. So that slowdown was expected. With the housing supply-demand imbalance and home ownership crisis in the coming years, we're not seeing that funding there. So we've got some highs and some lows.
So that's really going to impact people in 3, 4, 5 years because it takes, 3 to 5 years to build the average pre-construction. So if they're not getting built now, they're not going to be ready in 3, 4, 5 years. And I'm sure there's still going to be a need for people to sleep indoors.
Absolutely.
All right, so industry news. Quick one here. The CEO, Roy Gorey of Manulife, is retiring. Neither Christina or I interviewed for the new position, but they decided to take Phil Witherington. He was the chief executive of Manulife Asia. So effective May 8th, Manulife's going to have a new CEO. And then I thought this was interesting. They released the all the insurance companies in Canada, how sales are going for the third quarter of 2024. The total new premium increased 4%. Whole life new premium jumped 9%. So whole life continues to be more and more popular in Canada. And again, I think that's part of, there's not a lot of strategies left that can do, or no strategies left that can do what whole life can do, properly structured whole life. Just to put it in perspective, whole life, of all the life insurance premium out there, your universal life, your term, all that stuff, throw it all in the mix. Whole life is now 68% of the market. 68% of the total premium out there is going to whole life. So that was kind of neat on the industry news. Term life sales dropped. UL was up slightly. And then CNC, Christina, we got some... Continue to get exciting news at CNC. Fun place to work, isn't it?
Yes, very fun. Very fun. We got through the office move. Well, we're still kind of working on the office move. We're in the process. We had to paint. We had to do some renovations. It was a big project, bigger project than we thought it might be. But thankfully, we have an amazing team that has been handling things for us back at the office. Shout out to Grace, killing it on that, getting this all together for us. But we're moved in. We have boxes. We have boxes. We have desks. We have things all moved in. By the end of December, I'm feeling we're going to be comfortable in the new spot. Should be all good to go. So happy about that. We have more new employees, new team members joining us. Now that we have more space, we're able to hire a couple new people that are going to be joining in December, January. So we'll release some more names and stuff as they come on. Another big thing that happened just in the past month, we were at the Real Estate Investors Summit a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. So great things there. And then this one was kind of cool that I wanted to share with people because I'm sure others have thought about it and I want to be accountable to give updates as we go through. But we're going to be doing an AI audit, which is kind of cool. So we have someone coming in to go through everything, all of our processes, see where we can start using AI, which I think is going to be neat. I think we should be sharing this, Darren, because I think other people are thinking, should we be doing an AI audit? Like, what does that look like? So once we have it done, we'll definitely share on the podcast as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm a little nervous that he's going to come in and find some way to replace me and you, and it'll just be AI, Christina and Darren doing podcasts and doing meetings. But hopefully that's more long term. But it's kind of, we talk about investing in yourself, investing in business, and we're not AI experts at all, but we know it's going to be part of the future. So if you know it's going to be part of the future, kind of like investing time in learning this cash value life insurance, investing time in yourself to learn Bitcoin. We wanted to invest both personally and as a business, invest in some AI, really to get someone to come in and say, this is what you should be doing, this is what you could be doing, this is what you don't want to be doing. Because we really have no idea because, it's AI. I don't know. I know it sounds cool. So anyway, we'll keep you updated on the audit. Maybe they'll come in and say, there's no opportunity. But I think they're going to find a lot of things we can be more efficient at. Podcast-wise, we had some really cool podcasts. We had our good friend Bob Govro, our accounting series. We had another episode on that. We had a special podcast on Bitcoin surging this month. We could try to turn that around pretty quick because of the crazy stuff going on in Bitcoin this month. We had an EOS podcast. So we are implementing the EOS system now. We're 6-7 months into it at Control and Compound. We love EOS. If you're a small to medium-sized business out there, I think you should be looking at EOS. It's really helped our business. And we had Victoria Clooney on. She was a really fun podcast to do. She's a military member as well as a really big real estate investor, developer in the Ottawa region. So if you haven't heard those podcasts, I encourage you to check it out. And then December, Christina, what do we got coming up for December?
We have some great podcasts in December as well. So we're going to, following up from that EOS podcast, we're going to be releasing the control and compound values. So showing what we put together with the EOS and what we share with our team. We're also going to have a Habits of the Wealthy podcast, which I think is going to be kind of neat. And you had Jake Fuss on to chat with him. You said that one was really good. So
Love that podcast.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that one. That's going to be a great podcast. And then our annual predictions podcast, which I'm very excited for. So we're going to take a look at what we predicted last year, how it shook out, and then we're going to make our predictions for 2025, which I always find fun. So it'll be fun to look back at what we had said last year and what what we think we're going to see in 2025.
Oh, now I'm nervous. What did I say last year was going to happen?
I don't know.
Can we edit it just so we were bang on? I think Bitcoin's going to do exactly this. No. Well, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to December. So this is it till the new year for updates. So have an awesome December. And we'll see you every week in the podcast, but we'll see you for the monthly update in the new year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching this episode of Control and Compound. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you never miss a new episode. And if you're ready to learn more, head to our website, controlandcompound.com. The link's below.